I want to talk about this poll first that just came out. Here is Harry Emden. What is his name?
Harry Emden.
Harry Emden.
I honestly don't remember his real name anymore.
It's actually Harry Enton.
Enton, but God, in our hearts, he's Harry Emden.
Watch Harry Emden.
Donald Trump is at his lowest approval rating, basically amongst everybody, right?
Yeah.
And as well it should be. But he particularly overperformed with a couple of different cohorts in the 2024 election. Mm-hmm. Latinos was one of them. So much so that Texas Republicans got very confident in their redistricting.
Yep.
Their gerrymandering that they did very recently. Again, I don't want to get too remedial here, but if you have 3 districts and 2 of them are Republican and they are, let's say, just for the sake of argument, plus 10 Republican districts. In other words, that a generic Republican is going to outpoll a generic Democrat by 10 points. And then you have one district that's plus 5 Democrat. What the Republicans will do is they'll take 5, like 3 points from one Republican and 3 points from the other Republican, or I'm sorry, 5 from each, and they'll put it into that district and they'll make all 3 plus 5 Republican districts. So I'm taking 5 from one that has 10, 5 from the other has 10, putting it into the Democratic one that is essentially minus 5, and now they're all 3 plus 5 Republicans. But what happens if things turn so quickly that those plus 10s that you were counting on were actually plus 6s, let's say? And then all of a sudden, the Latino vote that you counted on for that plus, extra 4 or 5 points in those districts completely turns on you. Well, we may find out. Here is Harry Enton.
The Latino vote, what are we seeing among the polls there?
Yeah, what are we seeing? One of the big shifts in 2024 from 2020 was that shift towards Donald Trump, right? Immigration played a key role in that. I want to start off with Latinos on Trump and immigration. Back a year ago, what did we see on the issue of immigration? Latino voters trusted Kamala Harris more than Donald Trump, but by just 2 points. 1, 2. Look now at Donald Trump's net approval rating on immigration among Latinos. He is 38 points underwater. That is a 36-point shift, essentially, from where we were a year ago on immigration. Kamala Harris and Donald Trump are basically tied on the issue of immigration. And now on the issue of immigration, Latinos despise, hate Donald Trump. 38 points underwater. In their mind, he is doing something absolutely wrong when it comes to immigration.
What about the Latino vote overall?
What about the Latino vote overall? All right, how do Latinos feel about Donald Trump overall? Let's take a look here. This, I think, sort of gives the game away.
Goodness.
Yeah, oh my goodness. I mean, that is the phrase of the day. Trump's net approval rating among Latinos. In early February, again, he was just 2 points underwater. Look at where he is now. Late October, minus 34 points, 34 points underwater, a shift of 32 points over the course of this year. I should point out this is the CBS News YouGov poll, but I was looking at the averager polls. I was looking at our own poll. Very similar shift, 20, 25, 30-point shifts on the net approval rating away from Donald Trump among Latinos overall. Again, whatever Donald Trump is doing in office, in the minds of Latinos, it is not working. They have turned against him in massive, massive numbers.
That's stunning.
Yeah, and I'm also reading here, Strength in Numbers is a great Substack people can read. This was from last week, but it was about the Vanishing Trump coalition. You're seeing now that there's a pronounced shift of non-white, lower income and younger voters back to the Democrats at above average rates, where we saw that was also significant for Trump in the last race. The GOP's vote margin fell by over 40 points among Asian American voters, 20 points among Hispanic Latino voters, and 22 points among 18 to 29-year-olds, which is literally the exact coalition that the Republicans were trying to juice with their podcast bro thing. And then, of course, even in taking those numbers and redistricting around them. And the numbers are staggering in New Jersey. Like Union City, I've cited this before, just because I'm familiar with it also from growing up around there. It's a heavily Latino city, over 80%. And it swung by over 50 points from where Kamala Harris performed to where Mikey Sherrill did in that race. Now, again, like general election numbers, we always talk about this. It's a very different story when Trump is at the top of the ticket, but presumably he won't be again. We should probably note that, unless, obviously something horrible happens. And these Republicans, why this Epstein fissure is so important, is they're thinking about that race in 2028. And when, say, he's not at the top of the ticket, how are the Republicans going to perform if he can't do his celebrity thing and drive out those low propensity voters like this? And also, like, the denial of the economic reality people are experiencing is just, like, absolutely toxic and totally self-inflicted by Trump himself with the tariffs and everything.
I would also say, though, where you see the Republicans cleaving from Trump, it is all around this Epstein stuff. And it all is all very personal. And so what they're doing is they're trying to maintain the policy set and the issue set.
Yeah.
Nobody's breaking apart from Trump on the tariffs. Nobody, the only thing is this sort of like vague America First slogan. They're saying that he deviated from his own policy. So they're staying true to all that thing. So this is an important thing to, going forward, which is why it's so important. How Democrats win and how they govern is going to be so as relevant as to whether Donald Trump is, walking amongst us or, a distant memory or whatever. But what's going on in places like Chicago and LA and now in Charlotte, North Carolina, and of course, other cities. But Charlotte seems to be where the surge is. For weeks, all we've heard is how Trump's big, beautiful bill will cut Medicaid. But almost no one's reporting on a buried provision that would make Trump untouchable. Go to ground.news/majority to see how this bill would block judges from enforcing court orders unless you, the citizen, post a bond first. Highly credible sources warn most people can't actually afford to do this, and that's pretty obvious. So if this bill passes and Trump violates the law, it wouldn't even matter, and nobody even knows, which means the GOP's flood the zone strategy is working. And it's why I think Ground News is the best tool to expose these blind spots before it's too late. My partners built the only app and website pulling in news from across the globe, then breaking down each source's bias, credibility, and the news the right tries to bury. And considering most people take the first article they see online as fact, their browser extension is essential. What it does is it flags the source's bias and links other credible reports to verify the information. Ground News is a better version of how we're already staying informed. So I got you 40% off the same unlimited access Vantage plan that I've been using. That's just $5 a month when you go to ground.news/majority, scan my QR code, or redeem the code majority if you're using the app. With at least another 4 years of this, they're counting on you to be distracted. This app is how you stay focused. Hey folks, don't forget to hit the subscribe button and check out our daily show. We do it every day at 12 p.m. Eastern for about 2.5 hours. We even take phone calls. You should check that out.